This is my personal tribute to George Sheldrick. George was an exceptional talent, and that was evident from his school exam results already. This is, let me get a laser pointer here. This is a picture from Google Images of Huddersfield New College, where he studied. This may be the modern version of it. And by coincidence, my school, also in West Yorkshire, at Ossett, was only 10 miles away from Huddersfield New College. I would say that the British school system served George well, and myself. George, however, did 6 A-levels and 2 S-levels. That's the highest standard, A-levels being what is required for university admission. And he gained distinctions in physics, maths, and chemistry. And I can only imagine the timetabling nightmare for the school to accommodate George's talents to teach him with 3 additional A-levels. And I can imagine that, in fact, he did a lot of studying of those additional A-levels in his spare time. And George was awarded a major scholarship to study at Jesus College, Cambridge, where he stayed actually for quite a lot of years before his final move to Göttingen. In terms of geography, many of you will know the layout of England and the UK. But anyway, here is Huddersfield New College, and about 200 miles north of London. Here's Cambridge, of course, and Manchester, which will feature in the story shortly, is about 30 miles west of Huddersfield. George was very appreciative of Durward Cruickshank's crystal structure refinement program, and we were both at Durward's retirement symposium, here shown on the steps of UMIST, University of Manchester Institute of Science and Technology, where Durward was a professor of structural chemistry. Dorothy Hodgkin, you can recognise, of course, Jack Dunitz, George Jeffrey, and Mary Truter, and various other people that had featured through Durward's illustrious career. We each wrote up our lectures, and the reference for George's lecture, Computing Aspects of Crystal Structure Determination, detailed reference is here. And it, in preparing this personal tribute, I reread that, and it's a very interesting read. And George makes clear that his first contact with Durward Cruickshank was, in fact, not crystal structure refinement, but gas phase electron diffraction. This is a screenshot of Durward's assembler code for the Ferranti Mark I computer, which was situated at the University of Manchester. And Durward would travel over from University of Leeds, where he was based, with other crystallographers from 1952 to 1957. And it's the notes for this program that George referred to as being very helpful for launching his own efforts in crystal structure refinement and the SHELX program. Now, much later, and working with Durward Cruickshank, and I collaborated with Durward during his retirement years for a long period, many years, principally on the development of the Lowy method, along with collaborator Keith Moffat at Cornell University, and later Advanced Photon Source, Chicago, and University of Chicago. In Manchester, we were working on protein concanavalin A, which was a sugar binding protein. It's a decent size. Here you see the ribbon diagram, 100 kilodaltons, of which the unique portion of the protein subunit here, the crystals diffracted to really excellent diffraction resolution. There's a sugar binding protein, and as well as the primary paper here, we had an overview article, and we really had captured the chemist's imagination with this study, and we got the front cover of ChemCom. The connection to SHELX and George was that SHELX was essential for the full matrix inversion in order to get the standard uncertainty estimates on the bond distances. And this was just illustrated with these two, the glutamic acid 8 and aspartic acid 28. And we'd taken off the bond distance restraints, of course, in order to get a unbiased estimate of these uncertainty values and the bond distances. And you can see here in glutamic acid 8 that the deprotonated carboxyl side chain and basically equal bond distances. And then for the protonated asp28, we get the single bond here and the double bond there. And the values of the standard uncertainties allow us to be quite clear that this is a double bond and that's a single bond. So the SHELX was really vital in this study. We've measured the diffraction data at the Cornell high energy synchrotron in New York State there. Ashley Deacon, a very bright PhD student, and I worked together collecting data on the multipole wiggler install there, one of the first in the world. Ashley Deacon went off on postdoc and made his career at Stanford, at the Stanford Synchrotron Radiation Lab. Durward Cruickshank developed this diffraction precision index, and this was a very useful breakthrough documented in his paper here. SHELX was a very key component of the validation of the diffraction precision index, the DPI, as become known. And so for an average atom B factor value, we can see the close agreement between Durward's DPI estimate and what in the end is a rather simple formula for calculating it, and the full matrix true values. And as you look at examples for steadily progressing diffraction resolution, the correspondence between the DPI estimate and the full matrix true value is less good, but it's still pretty good. And this has really become important in the characterization of the uncertainty estimates of our atomic coordinates in protein crystallography. And the references are here. And Isabelle Uzon is the person here for the immunoglobulin example. Basically, George, I think, was such an exceptional talent. We were all rather in awe of him, and I certainly was. Anyway, thank you. Thank you very much.